Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be sharing some information with you who has received a rejection email from Chevening. So first, I want to acknowledge the effort you have put in, the time you have put in, the energy, the sleepless nights, and the work that you did to be able to submit a competitive application to Chevening. So I want to just take a couple of seconds to acknowledge that you've done significantly well to actually have submitted and to appreciate and acknowledge the effort that you put in. So here goes a few seconds of silence. Okay, then number 2. I wanted to acknowledge the emotions that you feel, the disappointment that you might be feeling, the anger that you might be feeling, the frustration, the disbelief, all of these emotions and more. I may not be able to label them all, but all of them are valid. Why? Because naturally you feel disappointed, especially when you have put in so much effort and energy. And I know because I have gone through this application process and I know how intense it is. So number 2 is give yourself the space and the time to feel those emotions. Step away. If you are not ready, pause this video, save it, and then you'll come back to it when you're ready to continue with, okay, now what next? I've dealt with the emotions that I have been feeling. What next? And part of the rest of this video is to answer that question on, now that you have received a rejection email, you have taken some time away to process the emotions that you're feeling. What then should you do next? Okay, and I actually wrote a couple of pointers down. And point number 1 is go back to your application with fresh eyes. That's the other reason to take a break. Take a month, take 2 weeks, and just decompress and step away from it. There's actually scientific research that explains why it's important to detach. However, once you have taken your break, come back to the application you submitted to Chevening and read through it with fresh eyes. Read through it to see, are there any points that were unclear that you could better have explained? Are there any examples that would have aligned more with the application that you made and the career that you want to take? So that's step 1. Review your application with fresh eyes from your own perspective and your own understanding of what you wanted to put through or to communicate through your application. Number 2, review your profile. When I say review your profile, I mean look at your digital presence, look at the kind of work that you're doing and how you are communicating the work that you're doing on your digital platforms. Number 3, look at your career projection and your career plan, where you are now in your career and where you want to go. Are you in the right headspace to be able to be making this transition? And does it align with the Chevening goals? Does it align with the Chevening priorities? How you find out the Chevening priorities? Number 1 is some background research on what is the UK government doing in your country, and does that align with your career? So if what they're doing in your country aligns with your career, then bam, you can be able to start to align your application with the priorities for the UK government presently. So that's how you review your profile. Then the other thing you need to consider when you're reviewing your profile is, what new information can you add to the next application that you'll be writing? Why? Because the next step I'll be advising is that you open a new application and you start afresh, completely afresh. Don't revise the old one. Don't tweak a few things here and there and resubmit it. Don't make shortcuts. Just write your applications afresh. Now, once you have reviewed your profile and you're able to see, okay, do you have a good profile for what Chevening is looking for? Then now you begin your application. And as you're beginning your application, the next tip I want to give you is to build social capital, and in 2 particular ways. Way number 1 is build social capital with people in your network today who you know have applied for Chevening or are Chevening scholars, and tell them that you are reapplying, and ask for support immediately you have decided you want to start the application again. Ask for support, begin the application process, and go through the application. So that's the first kind of social capital that you need to build. The second kind of social capital is emotional. So that means the people in your network, career, professional network now, start to work with them towards informing them about what you're doing with your career, what you're doing with your profession. If you're changing jobs, if you're doing some impact work in the community, if you're doing a project that is new, that is exciting, engaging at your workplace, give that information to them. Just keep tabs, keep giving them and updating them on how you're doing. Why? Because at the end of the year, you will be asking for references, and those are the best people to ask for references from, because they have seen your career and professional journey from the beginning of the year up to when you're making your application submission. So that's the other reason you build social capital. Then number 3, and my almost last tip, is to work on your professional career within this year. So you have a year to reapply, to start your reapplication. It's not even a full year. January, we are in February now. So February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. So you have about 8 months to apply. But as you're applying, you're also building your profile. So because you're gonna do your research on what Chevening is doing in your country now, you're going to start aligning your career and the work that you're doing with that, so that by the time you're applying for the scholarship, you have a demonstrated leadership and demonstrated aligned career, such that when you're applying for a master's, it makes sense for Chevening to give you that scholarship. It makes sense because you've been working, so you have professional experience to back up your application, and what you're working on aligns with what the UK government is working on. Okay? Yes. Now, so work on your career. Consider this as time to also do that. Then finally is making an application to other scholarships, because Chevening is not the only scholarship that exists. And I actually went back and did some research because I wanted to add value to you when you're watching this video and share. So what other scholarships are these that you could apply for? So of course Chevening, that's the reason you're watching this video, but there's Commonwealth as well. It's also by the UK government. There's Ivy League universities like Cambridge and Oxford. They have their own full scholarships. Some are partial scholarships that you can apply in those universities, especially if you're very, very keen to go there. So Oxford University, Cambridge University, check them out. Then number 3 is Australian awards. Australia normally gives awards for students to do their masters in Australia, but the difference is just duration of time. So like for Australia awards, you'll do your masters for 2 years. For the UK, you'll do your masters in 1 year. Mastercard Foundation also gives scholarships as well. Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters is another scholarship. Fulbright Foreign Students is another scholarship. Endeavour Postgraduate Scholarship is another scholarship. Herbert and Humphrey Fellowship, they also provide a scholarship. There's University of Sweden. Yes, they also provide scholarships to students. Now, these are just a few that I have been able to compile as a way to add value to you, and it's your job to do your due diligence. There's another one, that the last one, DAAD. I'm not sure what it stands for in full, but I do know that they provide scholarships. So when you're typing, just type DAAD scholarships and do your research and find out what can you apply for that aligns with your profile, with your career, with what that country that is giving the scholarship is doing in your country. This video was a challenging one to do because of the intensity of the emotions that you're feeling because of experiencing and having received a rejection email. However, please feel free to leave in the comments the emotions that you're having, the questions that you might be having, and I'll be able to respond. And if this has been valuable to you, please share with someone who you know this will help.